I'm murdered. Yeah, yeah. Coming up on Mental Health Marty, it is that time, the first Tuesday of every month, and I got my brothers and sisters from some other folk coming on here. We are so glad to talk about Black community, culture, and Christ. Stay tuned. What's up, everybody? Yes, it's me. It's Martina Sellers, your mental health hygienist, coming to you live. And I promise you, we are melting out here in Southern California. Not only is the sun always shining, but the heat index is off the chain. We are starting about our third week in the triple digits, y'all, and we are just trying to pray we don't have a blackout, but we hope you're doing well out there. Let us know you're listening. What's going on, everybody? Can y'all please send a cold front this way or some rain to stop these fires or what have you? But we are still in our right mind. Sister Janice, how are you? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Good evening, good evening, good evening. And this is the first Tuesday of the month, and I am so glad to have my peoples on here with me as we do it like only we can. I call it the Hot Topic Tuesdays with my brothers and sisters, and I'm just so excited to be here tonight. Hope you are doing well. Let us know you're listening, where you're listening from, and just humor me. Tell me what the temperature is like where you from, because it was 105, I believe, today. Yesterday, it was like 106. Y'all, these triple digits are killing me, and I ain't got a swimming pool yet because I ain't got enough money. Y'all send some money. I'm gonna do a GoFundMe for a swimming pool or something, y'all. But again, let me remind you why we do what we do. What is the Mental Health Marty Show? Thank you, Daryl. Listen, this show is intended as an educational tool. We are a psychoeducational tool, and we are not a substitute for you seeing your therapist, your psychiatrist, your psychologist, your doctor, your dentist, your pastor, your preacher, your mate, your road dog, or anything like that. But we are a supplement to your treatment plan. I do make light of it, but on the serious note, we want to help erase and eradicate the stinking thinking as it pertains to mental health in our BIPOC communities, in our communities of color. Why? Because we often thought that this was a privileged thing that only our white and Caucasian counterparts took advantage of. But listen, we're here to tell you that therapy looks like us. Everyone at some point in time in their life is going to go through some sort of mental health crises, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a mental health diagnosis. A crisis and an illness is two totally separate things. And guess what? We are here to help you and support you so that you are no longer activating and operating in ignorance, but that you have the truth of what mental health is all about. And I'm proud to be a mental health therapist in this game. So yes, so thank you. But if you're experiencing any type of crisis, medical emergency, you can dial 911, go to your nearest hospital, or the new mental health helpline, which is 988. 988. Again, the mental health helpline is 988. And we are so glad that that is a national helpline that no matter where you're at in the nation, if you're experiencing any type of psychiatric emergency, you can dial 988 and some mental health professionals can be there to support you along your journey. Now, how do you stay connected with us? I am so glad that you ask that question. How do we engage? We want you to go over to the Mental Health Marty YouTube page. Let me say that again, Mental Health Marty YouTube. On there, we want you to subscribe so that you can subscribe, hit the subscribe button. So every time our show does come on, you will be in the loop of how that happens. So what do? Just do that. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe. You will hear that bell. Now, Janice, don't tease me out there in Long Island at 68 degrees. Listen, send some of that rain and that 68 degrees out here because it is too hot. Now I done got upset. No, just kidding you. But listen, we are so glad that you are doing well. Let us know. Listen, talk to us. Listen, Tanya, I know 100 degrees. Listen, I'm right there with you. This heat is doing something to us. I'm no longer saying, Mama, I see you downstairs. I have to tell you, my mother tells me that this is her favorite show and her favorite time slot, the first Tuesday of the month. Why? Because she has both her sons on here. She is a Margarita fan, and then Dr. Sean. Listen, tonight, Bishop Sean won't be joining us. We ask that you keep him in your prayers as he is having some not mental health, but some physical health challenges these days. And we always want to wish him well. And definitely, y'all keep him in your prayers this evening because you know the show is not going to be the same without Bishop here to cut up and make sure we are staying on top of our toes. But I'm so glad that we got this sister from another mister out here. What's up, Jeff? Come on, brother. How you feeling? Glad you are always tuning in with us. But this young lady, we are so excited to have her join us as a regular on this show. She's not even a guest. She's a regular co-host and everything else. Daryl, can you put up the flyer, what's happening this weekend that's going to be in Williamsport? We are going to be talking about the Pastoral Installation Weekend with none other than Reverend Dr. Margarita Story. Listen, if you have some time to swing through Williamsport, Pennsylvania, listen, if you get into Baltimore, get into D.C., get into Philly, listen, just hang a left and just go till you hit Williamsport, and you'll run into us. We're going to have a shouting good time on Friday, Saturday, and I'm here to tell you I plan on tearing up the pews and shouting on Sunday. But I'm so glad to have her here with us because she is not only brilliant, she is a beautiful Black queen that we are so excited that is going to be sitting in the appropriate role, none other than the Reverend Dr. Margarita Story. All hail to the Queen.
Stop it. Listen, I'm going to kill you and that Mac in the back because I'm like, who gave approval to have an image, a likeness of me put up there? I didn't. I was like,
listen, you know you surrender all rights when you come on this show. Listen, Genesis, that's my pastor. Baby, I know she is, but we are so excited for you, Dr. Story. Listen.
Thank you so much. And it would not, let me say this. Let me say this.
What?
Marty, you had all of your fingertips up in it. It was because of you connecting me to this ministry. God used you, and He has consistently used you to be such an incredible inspiration and a source of strength for me. And I'm just so grateful to God for you, my brother. I love you, and I thank
you too
for this. Yes, thank
Listen,
you.
I love you likewise, and I just admire the gift of God and how you have consistently. We have known each other, good God, almost 20 years maybe now. And you have been so, when you meet people and they're consistent no matter where you meet them, no matter
Yeah.
when. You are so
Yeah.
consistent, and promise you, I have not forgotten that sermon that you preached on the mountain with those 500 young people that says, "Be who you is," and that. Listen, that made an impact in my life. I know I was
Yeah.
leading the gang, but listen, you made such an impact on my life with that message. And so I'm so grateful to you. So I do this, and we do everything we do out of love. And I have nothing but
Yes.
love for you and longevity. That's
Yes.
right. That's right. And uh, not only have you been a friend, but you have prayed for me. You've been there to encourage me when I felt like giving up. And y'all, we all have those moments when life
Right.
seems to get so heavy that we feel like giving up. But can you give us a rundown of the events and everything that's going to be happening this weekend? Listen, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I am as well. Well, first of all, Marty's going to be with us, and so that's the biggest thing ever. And I pray that Bishop Sean will be with us. And so I want my brother to know, if he's watching, I am
Yes.
praying for him, and I've been praying for the
Yes.
last few days because when we had talked, I felt in my spirit that maybe he wasn't feeling at his best because he's always one
Right.
that remains connected with us. And
Right.
so we're going to have on Friday the Reverend Dr. Frederick Laverne Fairley. The Mac and the Mac gonna be there as well, but we're gonna have him doing
Yes.
some
Yes.
other things.
We know the back in the back gonna be
Yeah,
there. He didn't give us. He's stealing our thunder. He's stealing our thunder.
the Mac gonna be there. The Mac gonna be there, and and I can't wait to see them. It, and it is his birthday as well, and
Hey,
so
tell him to
it's
stop stealing the
it's supposed to
thunder.
be it's supposed to
You
be
know,
my party, but he gonna think the balloons are about him. So,
he killing me.
but we're
Listen, tell him
so
stop talking to Margarita in her earpiece. Stop it.
that's what he's doing. But I love and appreciate you guys for coming. But the Reverend Dr. Frederick Laverne Fairley, his real name is not really Laverne, but it took him too long to tell me what the L was for, so I just named him for myself. But Frederick L. Fairley Sr., he's going to be here on Friday night from
Hmm.
Phoenix, Arizona. He
All
is
right.
the senior pastor of the Berean Bible Church, and we're having a faith and fun night on Friday night because we got
Yes.
people talking trash about whether or not they can play dominoes and spades and
Oh Lord.
whist and
Oh
all of
Lord.
that. Of course, they can't. But we're gonna
Right.
see. We're gonna
Right.
play a
Right.
little Twister, some old school games. We're gonna
Oh
have
Lord.
going on some Connect Four, some all of that. We're gonna be having a
Right. Right.
really
Right.
great
Right. Right.
time doing that. Yes, Laverne. And then on Saturday, the Reverend Dr. Jerry Carter from Morristown, New
Okay.
Jersey, excuse me, from
Okay.
Calvary Baptist Church. I mean,
Yes.
brainiac preaching machine. I can't believe
Wow.
he's coming. But he's going to grace the place, and I'm so grateful for that. And then on Sunday, we're going to also have once again, Frederick Fairley. He's going to be preaching again, Dr. Fairley. And
Yes.
then the service at 4 o'clock is the actual installation service. And
Yes.
Bishop Charles Daniels of California is going to be doing our service then. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
I'm just excited about what the Lord is doing. And Marty and Daryl, and I pray that Bishop Sean will be there. My daddy is going to be coming. Little Eddie is coming. So for those of y'all that don't believe Little Eddie is alive, he is.
Not little Eddie.
Um, and so big little Eddie is the little Eddie gonna be there.
Come
I'm
on, little
always
Eddie.
talking about him, but he's gonna be the little Eddie coming in the house,
Right.
baby.
Right.
And my Uncle Con is gonna be there. So I'm gonna have some family there and some family
This is a
members
family. This is a
and
family
friends.
reunion.
And It is, and also from my church at New Hope Baptist Church at Corona, Queens, New York, and Impact Christian
Yes.
Fellowship. They're going to be coming down to
Love it.
support because they're going to be sharing, one leader, and so I'm going to have
Hmm.
four ministries at one time, and so I need you guys' prayers as I attempt to serve
Yes.
God the best way I can. And Marty, once again. Thank you for allowing God to use you as a tool in this area of my life. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. So let's bring on none other than my brother by the same mother, none other, because my mother is probably chomping at the bits, none other than my little brother, who's my little brother, and I love him to death, none other than Rob, aka Bobby Sellers.
What's happening, everybody? How you doing?
What's
How you
going
doing?
on?
Hey,
Listen, you need
Hey,
to
hey,
go
I'm
hey
and get you a
there.
maintaining this
ticket to
heat.
come on. Yeah, go and get you a
I'm
ticket to come on
maintaining
out
in
and
this
join us,
heat. You know,
maintaining the heat.
Okay.
I'm
Come on and
maintaining in
get you a
this heat.
ticket and come on and fly
Oh
out
man, yeah.
to
Oh,
Williamsport with us.
Williamsport. Never been there. I do the
Williamsport,
little leagues
Pennsylvania.
out there,
The
but I
Little
know the
League,
The
good
yes.
Little
Lord
League.
is out there right now. That's right.
Yes,
That's right.
yes,
That's right.
yes.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Junior, so let me do this since I got us all on here. We
Yeah.
want to shout happy birthday, none other than the Mac in the back, Daryl himself. It's his birthday tomorrow. And so we want to
All right,
celebrate
Big
this
T.
brother, the best producer,
Happy
all that in the
birthday.
back. Yes, yes. See, tell him to quit stealing my thunder. I had it all situated. And let me get this message out for Daryl's mom. Mom Mitchell, listen, I want to make this very clear. When I was in Atlanta last week, in 2 weekends ago now, it was Daryl who did not tell you because I always am down for Papados, and so it is his fault that we did not connect. So I just want to make that clear so you can talk to him and everything. So I'm always down for a good Papados when I am in the ATL. So when I come back real soon, see, he's threatening me in my ears. He's talking about he has a mute button and he's not afraid to use it. But that is so
Right.
wrong, Daryl. So wrong. See, but anyway, we are so glad. Listen. Let's jump right into this, y'all. And what we're talking about now. From the mental health side, September, please live stream. Sent out some nuggets. Yes, since we are at home. You know what? Real quick, yeah, it's going to be streamed live, isn't it?
I believe so. And since the Mac in the back is going to be there, if there's any little snippets or anything, we can try to get them to him since he doesn't have anything to do this weekend.
Says he has nothing to do. Yeah, and thank you for saying that. That reminds me, we are going to be talking about. Can we share on this platform, Dr. Story, what we talked about having the Wellness Wednesdays, the first Wednesday of every month? Yes, I'm going to let Dr. Story share with us her vision and what we're going to be doing with these Wellness Wednesdays. Go ahead, Dr. Story.
Well, as I'm always talking to Marty and looking at all of the great resources that he's consistently putting out, we were just talking, and I'm dealing with different populations all the time, and I just want people to be well, and that's what Marty does.
Yes.
And so, because of that, I felt like it would be a perfect connect for us to have Wellness Wednesdays so we can talk about physical wellness and emotional
Mm-hmm.
wellness, psychological wellness,
Yes.
relational wellness, spiritual wellness, and then have a great dialogue about
Yes.
the fact that we all go through some times where healing is necessary in
Mm-hmm.
different areas of our lives, and in order for
Right.
us to live our best lives, we got to be well in all of those areas. And so I'm grateful that Marty was willing to say yes. And so on the first Wednesdays, we're going to be looking at it. So y'all be looking out for it because it's gonna be amazing, I believe.
I think it's going to be amazing too, because we got to look at the holistic approach and what and how we do it, because too often we look at things too much in isolation, where we fail to realize that our physical health affects our mental health and our emotional health. All those they're all interconnected, and we have to look at wholeness and wellness from a whole holistic approach. That's the word I'm looking for, holistic approach, and not so much in isolation. And how do we, because Bobby's very, very big on how do we use better natural medicines to heal us and not so many of the psychotropics. How do we do some of these other things and what that looks like? So yeah, I'm gonna have Bobby gonna be joining us on some of these Wellness Wednesdays. I'm here for y'all. Everybody.
I'm here for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Let's make it happen.
But Bobby, let's make it, but also our community wellness, because our communities are sick, and they're not just sick because of what's inside of, or the people inside of it, but also because of what the system has placed inside of it. Because we've got a lot of public housing that's been built on places where they were dumps before, and then a lot of that, just all those types of things. And so we do want to talk about it. And even in New York, I was just hearing today that they had found out several years ago that there was arsenic in the water in the public housing areas, or several of them that were there. And of course, they didn't let anybody know. Praise the Lord. And so there's been sicknesses, and it's not well, because we've got to make sure that we're focused on making sure our communities are well. And so I'm sure Bobby's going to add a lot to the conversation. And so I hope he comes along with us on our Wellness Wednesday.
Oh, yes. Since you brought, let's talk about Mississippi and this bad water that they are having there. Was it Jackson, Mississippi? Where we at?
Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Yes, Jackson,
in
Mississippi.
Jackson.
It's just with anything. It's a bad infrastructure. It's been happening for years. No leadership, I will say, in the in that community and whatnot. Obviously, we're limited, obviously, but it's just a lack of infrastructure. It all started obviously when white flight happened, and then with the white folks moving out of that area, they took the resources, and nothing has been rebuilt. I mean, they've been going on with this for years, and it's just not happening in Jackson. But if you take a look probably at all the major black cities, they were going to have this issue, the infrastructure.
Well, it's the same thing that's happening in Flint. So we have this same thing repeated.
Absolutely. Same thing.
So
and
how
also
do we
and also state and local government with the federal government, they're all tied to this. They're all tied to it. There's no escape from it. All these positions that we're in, like the Rev was saying, where we live at, those environments, you can go back to local and state government. You see the redlining, you see the housing districts. That was designed by nature. All that's designed. So that's the microcosm of the whole bigger picture. The infrastructures are terrible. But
look what it does also. We shouldn't. These are what we call, we're supposed to live in the land of the home of the brave and the land of the free, but yet we don't have good drinking water. We don't have proper basic life necessities, especially when we're looking at what Jackson is, what they say, 80% black, 80% African American in that. So why is it in there? We're looking at Flint. I was right before I got on, we were looking at the Compton fire department was on strike because of, again, infrastructure, because they have fire engines that are over 20 years old. The facilities are not fit for them to even live in. The patchwork and the sinks and everything is falling apart. They show pictures of washing machines that I wouldn't even have to put in a group home, let alone for the fires. And they are amongst the Compton Fire Department is amongst, in the state of California, on the top 10 most called upon fire departments in the state, but yet they have the worst facilities. I don't understand those type of things and what that does psychologically, what it does, even on a community scale point, that these lives do not matter. When we say each life matters, Dr. Story, talk to us some more about that, and what are we seeing that going? Because I think it's a travesty in when we're talking about that.
I agree with you. I agree with you, but then also we've got to also look at what's going on in Camp Lejeune, because y'all also heard
Yes,
about that.
yes,
And
yes,
so that's the military as well,
hmm,
where you've got those old infrastructures
yes,
that were there, and our kids and our those that are supposed to protect us and give their lives for us. The
right,
infrastructures are old, and we spent money on everything other than our infrastructures. And this nation is going to crumble if we don't begin to do what we need to do with our infrastructures. And we're going to find out that it's going to begin to be even more widespread than what we're
right.
dealing with these pockets of lower income individuals. It's going to begin to get in this middle and upper middle class, because if those infrastructures, boo, they tied together. So y'all can act like you good, but
Hmm.
you start checking your water at your house too, boo, because you gonna start seeing those levels begin to go. But they tied together. They're tied together. So we're not,
Let me,
sugar, don't talk to me. And even that, even
right.
that
That's what
needs
we
to be
found.
checked out,
Right. It's the truth. It's true.
because
Bobby, you're smiling. You're
it
smiling.
is.
No, I mean, I think what we're talking about is right on point. I mean, a lot of these bills just got passed. I know the infrastructure bill got passed, and we're going to see where this money is getting handed out to. So, we got to be pay closer attention, because a lot of these governors or whoever these
Hmm.
state officials that's holding the money up, we got to take notice and be on their, excuse my language, ass. Make sure that this
Right.
goes ahead
Right.
and the proper channels are getting served, so we can go ahead and build this infrastructure. It's like, it's crumbling. We have to do a better job.
But
You got to pay attention.
I we do have to pay attention, and that's why it's a call for us. Too often we take our sight off of the local structure of government and always focus on what the president. Listen, he's too far removed. Now I'm going to do my part to vote, but I want to hold my local politicians, my
Exactly.
local
Exactly.
councilmen, and all that. Now I've been watching Good Times, and remember they had the councilman come on,
Yeah.
and he would call Walona everything but Walona, but the aldermen and all that, because you had connection. And in those times, the question is this: have we as a community lost connection with our local government and holding them accountable? Not that half of them was doing, I shouldn't say that, that's a bad assumption. Have we? I was going to say not
Not
that half
really.
of them did what they're supposed to, but where they were. But what do we do today? Because when we see Stacey Abrams out there going door to door and in the community, especially with that the current governor was trying to come out, but she came right back with a quickness on her retaliation. Like, listen, let me tell you something. I am not telling anyone to do what they haven't already been doing and what we should have been doing. So how do we support candidates like a Stacey, or like you're saying, Bobby, holding the
Mhm.
candidates accountable for
Yeah.
their whether their actions or their inactions in how it affects our lives?
No question. I mean, with anything, obviously we see what's going on. We've seen it for years, what's going on, as far as
Mm-hmm.
people not paying attention, people just being laissez-faire about situations. The main thing that we got
Right.
to understand is whenever, all these atrocities are happening to us, water, taking away our voting rights,
Yes.
low wages, whatever the case may be, in our communities, we have to start looking inward. You know what I mean? It's like when we have all these problems socially, we got to turn
Mm-hmm.
inward and find out, okay, what's our problems? How can we find a solution? So with anything, when any problem, you handle problems with questions and answers. We have to turn inside on a governance level, look at ourselves and like, look, if we don't have each other's back, nobody else will. So how can we pull our resources together, get the right people in office? That means by voting people. Yes, you have to get the right
Mm-hmm.
people in office,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then hopefully we can have a voice. We got to play the game. But the main thing we got to understand is on a governance level, we got to look at our problems, get these questions and answers solved, and then find the right people who we can mentor, who we can shape to represent us. That's what we have to do. That's part of the game.
But have we lost our ability to come together? Go ahead, Dr. Story.
I'm with Bobby, but I want to also make the suggestion is we've got to stop saying that we got the right person in place and get off of our lower do nothings when there are monthly
Right.
meetings and community
Yes.
board meetings. We gotta stop trying to look at television or catch up on the ball game. Them things they play in loops. You can see that game 18
Right, right.
times.
Y'all can watch P Valley
You can
another
see
time.
right, but we're
Don't
so
watch that
ambivalent.
chaos.
But we're so ambivalent to what's going on, and we'll say
Right.
this person needs to do stuff, and then when there's an issue in the community, we don't raise it, we don't speak up about it, we don't email them, we don't call them, we don't do anything about it. And if we vote, if we take that
If.
opportunity to do it, we
Yes.
act as if that's all that we need to do. And even when it hits our homes, we'll complain about it, but we won't go into action. And I believe we gotta get some tables, like Bobby is saying, and we've got to use the intellect and create our own infrastructures in our own communities to begin to solve and resolve some of the things that are going on, because some of the stuff we ain't got to go outside of who we are. Because if the Latino community could do it, if the Jews could do it, if the Asians could do it, then black folk we can do it, and brown folk we can do what is necessary.
Right.
But we've got to stop being so ambivalent, and we got to stop acting like somebody got to take care of us. The United States is not our babysitter.
Oh, that's good. That's good. But
Okay, stop.
where you
Bobby, what?
You're right.
Bobby, what?
It definitely ain't gonna babysit us. They still let me stop. They still look at us how we originally came over here. They look at us like we're just supposed to serve everybody and don't have a say in nothing.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
guys
And they're
are brought over
wrong.
here to serve, and that's the same attitude they still have. But we
but
got to
when did we
recognize
become
that.
this apathetic? We are very apathetic as a people anymore. We don't trust each other. We don't support our businesses. It, yeah, but when do we mentally and emotionally and can I dare to say even spiritually any longer take action? Because used to be the call to action and the call to rise really did rest upon the church. When we looked at, and I think there was a shift somehow in the 70s going into the 80s that I don't want to say that's necessarily that the church lost its power, but did it lose
It
its
did.
bite?
It did. You don't have to say it. I'll say it. It did, because it lost its focus and it lost its voice. Because in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, it was this preachment or proclamation that we had a role and responsibility to not only lift ourselves up, but hold
Right.
the United States accountable for equity,
Mm-hmm.
and to begin
Mm-hmm.
to change and legislate things. And then in the 80s, because we had begun to see some things change, we began to start preaching this prosperity gospel, where
Prosperity.
all it was about was
Me,
cars,
myself,
cash,
and I.
preacher conference, and going on cruises. That we forgot about our
Uh-oh.
communities, and we forgot about the things that are really important. And then now we've got individuals that are so ambivalent in churches that it's we're not gonna give, and we don't give a hoot.
Mm-hmm.
Because y'all thought I
Mm-hmm.
was going to
Yeah.
say something else. But we don't even give a hoot.
It's
We don't give a hoot even about the communities, because most of
Right.
us who go to the church don't live in the communities that are
They
affected
don't.
by those issues. And so it's so easy to walk in and walk out, or to get a sound bite, because it's watch me this evening because I'm going to be online. But I might be able to hear you, but I can't feel you because I
Feel
don't
and
see
touch
you
the
in the community.
Yes.
That's exactly
Yes.
right, because we don't care about those communities. And then we're starting to see a lot of the African American churches sell out. And so they're being sold and turned over into apartment complexes and everything else, and knocked down because they could get enough money for them to
Mm-hmm.
continue to do what they say they can do out in the suburbs, and they're leaving those that God has called us to, because the word of God declares that the poor will be with you always. And God
Always.
gave that as a responsibility to the church to see about the poor, but He did
Mm.
not call the church to make the government see about the poor. Now I'm done with
Ooh.
that.
Okay. Come
But
on.
it's all a tactic of divide and conquer. You know, we got to
Well, of
understand
It
course.
that
is.
we're under constant assault. We got to recognize this. You know, the whole thing that we can't, like, you know, we can't be oblivious to what's going on or act like, you know, it's not going to happen to me, it's happening to them, whatever the case
Right.
may be. We have to understand what's going on, and we all know that it's all divide and conquer. It's all a part of the white supremacy, plain and simple. I mean, if
Mm.
you think about it, things could have changed years ago. Years ago, laws could have been
Mm-hmm.
passed, bills could have been passed. Not going to do it. So therefore, how do you dismantle any base? Divide and conquer. You know, I seen some report.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys should know why you think memberships are down in churches now compared to 10,
Oh,
20 years ago, 30 years ago. You guys see it, no question. You know, it's the
Mm-hmm.
same, it's the same
absolutely.
thing. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we just got
Yeah.
to
Well,
understand.
But it's because, but let me say this, and this is hard to hear and to say. But many of us sold out because of money. Because see,
yes.
when grants start paying the church's bills. Wow, ain't nobody talking, but I'm gonna keep on talking. When grants start paying the church's bill, you
Right.
gotta sound like the people paying your bills. And so we start
Mm-hmm.
sounding like them, and we start being
Yeah,
they become our puppet
Our
master,
our
and we
sold out,
start
and
doing
our
what they tell
boss.
us to do. We're
sold out.
sold out. They're our bosses.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So let me do
That's
a
right.
hard shift here, if you will. For the month of September, it is Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month, as well as Addiction Recovery and Prevention Month as well. So here's my question: have we? I want to throw it out to Dr. Story first, and I wish Bishop Sean was here. Have we, as the body of Christ, the Black Church, done an injustice? Okay, have done an injustice with, and I'm going to throw this out to you as well, Bobby. Have we done an injustice when it comes to dealing with proper understanding of suicide? Because if we look at this, we're talking about suicide itself. I was just doing some statistics here. We look at
Mhm.
78% of those who have completed suicides are men. And then if we're looking at over 47,000 Americans commit suicide every year. And then we're looking at that suicide is the fourth leading cause of death between people between the ages of 34 and 54. Those are
Mhm.
scary statistics to me. And
Yeah.
have we, even as a community, done a horrible job with understanding and not even in a church setting, I want to say demonizing, but really putting this spoof, this something we can't touch or talk about because, quote unquote, it does not happen in our communities when we know it
Mhm.
does. So
Yeah,
talk to me
exactly.
about that, Bobby.
Well, I don't think that we can, you know, I'm not trying to assume or
No,
anything, but
no,
I think we can't blame it
right.
everything on the church. You know what I mean?
I agree.
This once again tied to our community. You know, I think a lot of it has to do with the era we living in now. You know, everything's what I want to say is you know, serve me, or what I want to say is everything's instant gratification.
Instant
You know, a lot
gratification,
of
yes.
things, yeah, a lot of people don't want to work on things. Like, if it's not happening to me now, oh, my
Right now,
life is, you know, is no good, you know, I'm nobody. I think a lot of times,
right.
you know, the focus is not where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people need to understand, just being yourself is a work in progress. It is. I
Mm.
mean,
Mm-hmm.
especially with society, how, you know, all the pulling and away from everything that you deal with. You know, everybody got a lot of things in front of them. Obviously, with that
Yeah.
phone, social media, you get
Wow.
bombarded with
Yes.
information, and a
Yes.
lot of
Information
times, you know, we don't know
overload.
how to. Yes, exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth. And
Yeah.
we don't know how to deal with each other individually. You know, it's work.
Yes.
It's work to get to anything in life, whether it's career wise, spiritual wise,
Mm-hmm.
hell, even lifestyle wise, it's work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think
It is.
you know, people got to understand that, hey, this is life. There's going to be ups and downs, there's going to be roadblocks, but don't let life get you down so far where you think about taking your life. You're a gift. Being alive, this is a gift,
Yeah.
you know, and
I love that.
don't overlook that. You know, being
Yeah.
life breathing, that's a gift, you know. And then, you know, you're a fighter. Everybody here is brought on this earth, who came into this earth, you're a fighter. Just imagine everything you had to do to get through to this point in life,
Mm-hmm.
being a human being.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like whatever you're
Mm-hmm.
going through, you can handle it. Yeah, it might get rough, but you can handle it. You can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's a
And I
lot of
love,
times, you know, obviously. Go ahead.
yeah, I hear what you're saying. I totally agree with you that I'm of the belief too that suicide is definitely preventable, and a lot of times we get nervous about and not knowing how to what words to say, and a lot of times
Yeah.
it's what I call the power of just being present, and
Yes.
that can make such a
Exactly.
huge difference in our lives. It can make a huge difference in someone else's life. Of just being present, understanding, not saying even that you have to agree, and not being afraid to challenge someone and say, "Hey, wait a minute," because I'm now of this school of thought that
Mhm.
that most of us want to just end the pain, and whatever that
Yes.
pain is. And sometimes we think that we're making a permanent decision about, and I say it this way, a temporary problem, even though when you're in it, because I've been in some situations where I didn't think that the problem would ever go away, and it felt like hell going through it, and
Yeah.
I would have done anything just for that pain to go away. But most of us don't have family, friends, or trusted people that we can go to and say, "Listen, I don't even want you to comment. I just need the power of your presence." How do we even begin to have that, especially as, and I'll say it this way, Bobby, as Black men, where a lot of times
Mhm.
we lack trust, or we
Yeah.
lack depth. Let me say it that way.
Yes.
We have very superficial relationships, and we lack depth of the relationship. And so how do we
Yes.
have
Yes.
those conversations when I say I'm not okay? And I don't need you to
Yeah.
judge me. I just
Mhm.
need to know that I can count on you, my brother, and
Yeah.
to come through for me.
Yeah, well, I think things are changing. You know, the stigmatization is slowly leaving. But it's
Mm.
just with anything, you know, we just got to understand vulnerability is a strength. You know, we've always was brought
Wow.
up like vulnerability, you know, sign of weakness. Nah, that's not the case. You
Yeah,
know, wordplay has changed now. So a lot of
that's
times,
good.
you know, what's the first thing everybody says? What's a strong thing or a strong idea you need to have? Everybody says communication. Whole thing is like
Mm-hmm.
open up about yourself. Go ahead and communicate to somebody. It's okay. You know, don't worry about
Mm.
what other people think or how they judge you. That's not your job to worry about what others say to you, you know. And then just put yourself around positive people where you can be open like that, where you're not
Yeah,
opening yourself up and you think you'll get criticized. Because I think that's the whole point that
it
a lot of
is.
us men fear is like, if we open up,
That's
oh, this
good.
person's gonna talk bad about me, they're gonna dog me. We gotta work, we gotta get over that. You know, it's not your job to worry about other people think of you. So therefore, put yourself around positive people where you can open up and be constructive on dealing with your issues and problems. And you answer that once again through questions and answers.
That's good. That's good. Marguerite, what do I say this about the stance and even maybe even the misinterpretation of suicide that we as the Black church have traditionally had, and how do we erase that stigma to say, hey, it's okay to say we don't want you to complete or go through with it, but it's okay to say I'm struggling today. And what's our stance as a church to these days?
Well, one of the things I would just like to go back and just say, there are three suicides in the Bible
Mm-hmm.
that don't get talked about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The suicide of Samson. The Bible says that he ripped the gates of Gaza
Yes.
down and killed more in his death than he
Death.
did in his life, and so we celebrate that suicide. Then we look at the suicide of Judas, who sold Jesus out for some money, and so we vilify Judas, that he took his own life, and suggest that there's a punishment that ought to go towards Judas, who, as you read in the word, you understand that the pressure of what he had done was so upon him that he knew he couldn't go to the church to get forgiveness. And so he took matters, and I'm gonna go on and
to his
finish.
own hands.
And so we vilify him, and then we got a suicide of Jesus. And don't nobody want to say this, but the Bible says, "Don't nobody take my life, but I lay it down of my own accord, only to pick it back up again." And so we celebrate that suicide. He literally is saying, "I'm doing it to myself. Ain't nobody did this to me." And so, because we don't like looking at suicide in the Bible, then we struggle with the conversation that there are times and pressures and points in life where no matter whether somebody else thinks there are other options, others don't feel like there's another option. And in that, when we look at the issue of Judas, Judas reminds me of those of us in the church who make critical error. But we know we can't come back to believers, because believers are so unforgiving, and believers are ones who will never forgive you, and believers are one who will not walk you back to your strength place. And I believe that the church is still in a place where we've got to understand that until we're able to be authentically the church God has called us to be, there are going to be people who feel like there is no other choice because the church won't understand. And the truth of the matter is, the church may not understand, but God does. And God understands that there are emotional and psychological things that can be so oppressive in nature. And that's why he's able to heal us, mind, body, soul, and spirit, because he understands that because we're more than what you can see. And I've written this thing called the me you cannot see. There are times when people are acting like they see me. Baby, there's a me you cannot see. You cannot see the pressure that I'm under all the time. You cannot see the pain that I'm under all the time. You cannot see the oppression I'm really dealing with all the time. Baby, there's a me you cannot see. You cannot see the shame that I carry on my own. You cannot see everything that's going on with me. And everybody tells me you gotta smile and go on with it. And because you cannot see that me, you cannot heal that me that you cannot see. But the church is supposed to be emblematic of who God is. And God is a healer. And God is a revealer. And we will never be able to heal anybody that we've got issues and circumstances that we cannot talk about. That we got to stop acting like our eyes are bucked when folk be talking about stuff. You can't buck my eyes, baby. I'm almost 60 years old, and either I've done it twice or I thought about it 4 times.
Right. I love it. Done it twice. About some stuff that you done. You can't. There's nothing new under the sun, the word of God says. But the church is not always the best tool to use, because we hide behind being healed, because we learned how to have language, but we've not learned how to live free. So we regurgitate scriptures when we really not been healed yet, because healing
sometimes requires stuff that we don't like. I'm going to say this and I'm going to stop talking. But my mother
Uh-huh.
fell at one of our group homes one time, and we had to rush her to the hospital. And when she got
Right.
to the hospital, they had to do an x-ray of her ankle and her leg. And when the doctor came in, he said, Miss Garrison, I got some good news and I got some bad news. And she said, I want the good news first. And
Right.
he
Right.
said, Are
Right.
you sure? She said, Well, then give me the bad news. He said, No, I'll give you the good news first. He said, I
Right.
can
Right.
help you. And so
Uh-huh.
she said, Well, that's some good news then.
That's
He
some good
said, The
news.
bad news is that I gotta break it before it gets better.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I'll let that
Mm-hmm.
sit in the room since don't
Mm-hmm.
nobody want to do nothing with it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you gotta break the like your brother was saying, you gotta break the stigmatisms of stuff. For men to be
Yes.
able to be healed, you gotta break those things where you
Yes.
feel like, I gotta put up with what everybody else is saying. We've gotta stop all of that mess. And we've
That's
got to
good.
break those things in order for people to be able to get better.
That's good. That's good.
That's right.
You're so
That's
right
right.
with that. Go ahead, Junior. You were going to say?
Oh, no. I was just agreeing. I was just agreeing what she was talking about. She was laying down the
Yeah.
points, no question. Mhm.
Yeah. But you're so right, because we have to create, and I'm going to pivot for both points within men and within the church. I think you said it best when you said the church is the only place where you cannot be who you authentically are, because we judge you based upon that. And we like the saying, I love what you're saying, well, come as you are. No, you don't want me to come as I am, because you're going to judge me and then kick me out and excommunicate me, because I took your word for what you said and you weren't true and honest about it. And that's why a lot of people, and I'm going to say it this way, the challenge that the church has and it continues to have is, how do we help men and get men involved in a organization that is not necessarily man friendly, unless you are at the top being the pastor.
Right. And that was the thing that I was trying to bring up, Marty, about Judas. Judas is
Uh-huh.
with 12 of the men or 70 of the men
Yes.
and
Yes.
Jesus. And there was nobody that
Wow.
was close enough in relationship with him. That's why I'm bringing him up. There wasn't anybody close
Yes.
enough to Judas to be like, that boy don't look right. He ain't right. He ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
And when he stole Jesus, Peter ready to cut everybody up. Somebody still could have turned and said, where Judas at? Like, where he at?
Right.
At least to beat him up or something. Didn't nobody even go looking for him.
But you're right. You're right. No
And
one
so
did.
no one looked
Am
for
I
him.
my
And then
am
the
I my
next
brother's
thing you
keeper?
see, am I my brother's keeper? So then the next thing you see, took matters into his own hands.
His own
And so
hands.
sometimes when I look at our little boy, young men, our young men, they're taking matters into their own hands,
Mhm.
because some of the institutions that are supposed to be designed
That's
to
good. That's
develop
good.
them and help them, they not strong enough in their own selves to be able to help those boys. And so no wonder they run in the streets and harming one another and things like that. Is because the institutions, I believe, that should be designed to do that, our
To help
community
them.
centers, our churches. I was talking to somebody about the police athletic league, and they were like, I don't think the police, well, they used to run us around, doggone it. They were taxiing us from school down south. And I didn't know who they were. They were police officers volunteering with us. We called them our coaches. They helped us to run
Right.
track and play basketball and all of the rest of it. But it gave us safe spaces to be in.
Yes.
And we've got to recreate those safe spaces so that our young men don't begin to take matters into their own hands,
Own
because
hands.
they're doing suicidal things all the time, even though they're walking around, quote unquote, looking like they're alive. They're dead on the inside many times.
Yes. That's so true. That's so
No
true.
doubt.
Wow. And that just goes to say, we have so much more work to do with being, as
Yeah.
Bobby, you were saying, being vulnerable. with each
Yeah.
other and creating
Yes.
safe spaces, whether it's at the barbershop. And that's what I love about your B-side podcast, because you're allowed to be vulnerable. I threw that in. You
Yes.
like how I did that? You like how I did that? That was pretty good.
Yeah, you did it. The wordplay is nice. Yes, the
I thought it was
wordplay
kind
is
of
nice,
too.
brother.
I thought it was real good.
Yeah.
But even
I
in
like
our
the wordplay
churches
there.
and what you are able to do, Margarita, and it's not necessarily the popular thing, and we don't do this to be popular. We do this to help people and to be morally and ethically correct. And how we do that. And so it's not about a popularity contest or anything like that, but it really is to help the people. Can you believe we are at our time already? Where has the time gone? Where has the time gone?
It
does. It
Every
does.
time.
We didn't even get to
Every
scratch
time.
the surface. But I'm so glad. Listen, Bobby, tell us about your podcast, when your next one's coming up, and how do we, as always, continue to follow you? We didn't even talk about Venus and Serena. That was how I was going to talk about Venus and Serena.
Oh, shout out to the Williams sisters. Great. There needs to be some statues, some murals, something going on. We are never going to witness this again, especially the specimen of Serena Williams. God is good. But anyhow, yes, you can check me out. You want us to give God is good. Look at God. Hey, I can give you my handle. Hey, you can always check me out at the B-Side Podcast. Go to bsidepodcast.com. You can also go on IG, the B-Side Podcast Q. And also, like I said, if you want to tune in to me, you go to AR Sales 2 on Instagram. And also, like I said, you can go to Alec Roberts on IG as well. But yeah, my podcast, I try to do 1 or 2 during the week. Right now, hey, just tune in. Just tune in. That's all I got to say. Just tune in. Just tune in. That's it. I can't I don't want to lie. I don't want to lie to people talking about, hey, we on this date, this time, and it don't work out. So just tune in. Usually once, maybe we'll have 2 episodes a week, but it's always popping. Tune in. The B-Side Podcast, giving you barbershop talk in your living room.
I love it, Margaret. You know what I love, because even his brand, Alex Rob, what he has done is taking
Alec Roberts here.
Yes,
go ahead.
He's taken our family history and really has made a logo and an emblem and all of that, so that he's constantly reminding us of the roots of where we come from. Do you want to explain a little bit about that? And we're gonna get right to you, Dr. Story.
Back to me. No worries.
I'm back to you. I'm back to you.
No worries. Hey, what Marty tries to go on and say, I try to, talk to members of the family and try to trace our roots, our family tree, because, with anything, you got to start at the ground level to find out where you're going. So I like to make sure, we stay in tune with each other, and that's a good way that we can still communicate. Yes, bringing that word back in. Communicate with each other and find out what's going on. I just, like I said, you just try to tie everything in together. Obviously, Alec Roberts were related to the Alexander, so I cut off the Alexanders, cut it in half, Alec, and then Roberts my name. So boom, Alec Roberts is a short history of the name. But anyhow, the whole purpose is fashion with a purpose. So our purpose is to stay at the ground level, roots level, so we can get to where we need to go.
I love it. I love it. And
there it is.
And then next month, Bobby, make sure we talk about the Lee Sellers Scholarship Foundation that we're going to be doing in partnership with Wilberforce University in honor of our uncle, Dr. Lee Sellers. And so we're going to be creating our family scholarship, because we believe in that we have a responsibility to give back. And so this is something that we are doing to honor our uncle who went to Wilberforce University, HBCU in Ohio, and making sure that the legacy continues as we as a family want to get behind and sponsoring young people who are doing things well. And oftentimes we know that HBCUs have limited funds. And so we want to make sure we're giving to 2 to 5 of these young people on a continual basis that does not go against their financial aid, because we don't want to make sure, because, if you put in the financial aid, they'll deduct it. We ain't trying to have that deducted, but we want to make sure that they get it for living expenses as well. So all that's the brainchild of Bobby, and I'm so grateful for his genius and what he does. So we want to challenge, and challenge other families to do the same. to make sure that they go out, and we'll be having information that you can give to the Lee Sellers Foundation for those, and it'll be definitely a tax write-off, and we'll be having those things. But Dr. Story, this weekend, I'm so excited. Oh my God, Daryl, let's throw that up one more again so we can. Yes, there she is. Yes. We request the honor of your presence at the Pastoral Installation Weekend of Dr. Marguerite Story, September 9th through the 11th, 2022. Dr. Story, we are so excited. So, again, how can we follow you? And we're gonna do a live show sometime during this weekend too, y'all. When I'm with Dr.
That'll
Story, and so yes, it's gonna be a whole lot of fun. So stay tuned. It's gonna be impromptu. We just stay too close to your phones and your computers. But Dr. Story.
You can get me at Dr. Marguerite Story on Facebook. I'm on Instagram at The Real These Are the Daughters. I'm at the Ebenezer Baptist Church of Williamsport, Pennsylvania. I'm at New Hope Baptist Church of Corona, Queens, New York, and Impact Christian Fellowship, New York. And I am so excited about this weekend. I can't wait to see my family and my friends. I don't even think I have any friends anymore. I think they all just family.
We all family,
and so
baby.
I'm so excited about what God is doing. I'm wanting to steal some moments to try to just reflect on what's going on this weekend. Maybe get my hair fixed, buy some new shoes, because I got to be in some stilettos, sugar, I'm looking forward. I got to find a.
That's right. Hey, you can never go wrong. You can never go wrong with a woman in some stilettos. You can never go wrong.
Well, you have not seen Dr. Story.
Never go
She
wrong.
makes sure she has her stilettos on, and they be like, she be preaching up and down in them, and she be jeweled down.
That's right.
Her jewelry and everything.
Now, how far are you away from the Hershey Chocolate Factory?
Not far enough.
Where's Hershey? How close are you to Hershey, Pennsylvania? Where's Hershey, Pennsylvania? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it is. It is.
We drive through Hershey to get to Williamsport.
Oh, there it
right.
is.
And
there
I'm looking to be their mascot, Bobby. So I'm putting.
That's right.
I can't.
Bobby, please just let that sit.
Leave that alone. Leave that alone. Leave it alone. I almost said something I wasn't going to say. I was going to need prayer after that. So I'm going to leave that alone.
I can't.
Let that roll over,
I love it. Y'all, we just have a good time, and I love my family. Bishop Sean, we truly, truly missed you. Our prayers to you that Godspeed in your healing. So again, thank you so much. We don't want to leave you without giving you some hope. Next week, I'm so excited that we are going to be having Robert Marshall back on again. If you missed that episode with Robert Marshall and the stories of echoes about Black sexually assaulted men, he is one that you gotta hear. And so he's a writer, a producer, a pastor. He's going to be on talking about suicide prevention, along with none other than my brother James Bush from Memphis, Tennessee, going to be with us. And then we're also excited. We're going to bring in Nikki, who is a mother whose daughter had attempted suicide, and she's going to be there to support families. But listen, we don't want you to suffer in silence, but we want to make sure that we give you some necessary resources to help you along your journey as we talk about these things. If you're experiencing any type of crises, you can type crises to 741-741. Check out Psychology Today, Therapy for Black Men, Good Therapists. Those are all resources that you can use to find therapists that look like you, that will understand your plight and support you along your journey. Also, marcelconsulting.com. And we're so excited about the new mental health resource of 988. And if you're experiencing any type of psychological emergency, dialing 988 from any phone in the nation will get you the necessary help that you need. So please join us next week again, and as we continue this conversation about suicide awareness, and how to have hope when it seems like you're living in hopeless times. In this journey called life, we don't want you to continue to secretly suffer in silence in the shadow of shame, but we want you always to speak up, speak out, and live, but always remember to enjoy your life. Happy birthday to the Mac in the Back, Daryl, and we will see you next week. God bless.